I always love hearing the perspective of somebody in your guys' position on intake.
I'll tell you the dream intake setup. You have a lawyer who has a ton of empathy, who's been trained on intake, who's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, who is accessible via any communication technology that the client prefers. That's the number one intake. It's meeting the prospective client where they are, when they are, getting them an answer, and helping them down their path of legal journey, which requires at some point in that journey a lawyer to help them resolve their issues. And I'm glad you guys are all laughing and smiling, because of course you can't do that. At the other end of the spectrum, maybe it's leave a voicemail. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff in between. And so, that's kind of the fantasy version, but it's the same thing as the marketing. You got to look at like, what's your resource deployment? At every decision you make, you're calculating the trade-offs between the cost of the implementation and the impact of that decision on whether it optimizes for that potential client's experience or not. And so in a perfect world, it's what I said. You've got someone can reach you on demand, but that's obviously the costs of that they're not even doable, because you have to have lawyers on staff at 24/7 that have a ton of empathy and are all trained on intake and can field chat messages and phone calls and all this stuff. And so you've got to make decisions along the way. It's not the same for everybody, but I'll tell you what, at the very least, create a feedback loop so that you're hearing what the impact of those decisions are. So if you've got a bunch of, number one, Conrad talks about this all the time. If you don't have some kind of call tracking thing going on, you don't even know how many calls you're missing.
If I am a client of Answering Legal, I want to use that to help understand that Google is listening into these calls, and I would want to help feed Google what Google wants to hear about my firm. And they are very specific about what they listen for. It is pricing information, right? And this is generic. It's not about legal. It's about everything. Pricing information, lawyer bios, awards, and what they call special offers. I would be working to make sure that the intake people are feeding the beast what the beast wants to hear. And the beast has told us what it wants to hear. And they've also said, like, this goes across the Google ecosystem, right? So part of your marketing staff is your intake staff. And you're feeding Google what it needs to hear, what it wants to hear. So I would want to know that.